Okay, welcome back. We took a slight unadvised detour earlier today in an attempt to do our interplanetary power transmission. It was painful probably to watch me struggle through understanding how these energy exchangers work. The good news is that I think we have it sorted out, and it's probably entirely irrelevant to what we want to do next. So we are focused on building purple cubes, not green cubes. What are we even doing here? We're making purple matrix components. Yeah, update the title here. Boom. Okay, we're good to go. So we're making purple matrix components, which, if I remember correctly, includes this processor, which we have a ton of these, no problem. The tricky part is this particle broadband. Particle broadband requires plastic, which we have. We're actually currently storing excess plastic in our interstellar station here. We have a bunch of plastic stored up here. Actually, I wonder if there's a better way for us to move this plastic into that station. So we don't really need to store it here. I'd actually rather just send it directly through. Yeah, let's do that. Do this. And cut that out. Okay, so oh, that's not going to be a great solution either, it looks like. Alright, so we're still going to pick it up from here, but let's start dropping it out at a faster clip here. And we're actually going to speed up this belt so that we can get that plastic in here sooner rather than later. Okay, so we have plastic stored over here. The other components that we need for this are crystal silicon, of which we have a fair amount. We're making crystal silicon on our home planet here, but we have the refined silicon on our Alchiba 1 planet here. So we could potentially set up a production facility over there. And then we also need these carbon nanotubes. So carbon nanotubes are the one thing we don't have yet, so I think we should start on that first. Requires 3 graphene and 1 titanium ingot. We have a nice stock. I'm going to turn that off. We have a nice stock of graphene right over here. It's completely full up. So we want to intermingle that. Oh, perfect. And we actually have some in here. We have that and our titanium. Ooh, perfect. So we can make our titanium graphene right here, I would think. But the trick is we're already using 5 different storage types here. If we create this particle broadband, or rather this carbon nanotube, we're going to want to ship it back up. So what I'm going to do instead is we're going to build out a local somewhere else and just entirely compartmentalize this production. So let's see where we have some extra space. There we can see this whole battery debacle. So the power, and I think this is maybe something I don't understand, is our consumption demand and our discharging power are right around the same place, but our generation capacity seems to be completely independent of that. So I probably have to understand a little bit better how this works. Let me see if anyone else has cracked this better than I have, because I'm curious to understand how that plays out. All right, so I'm thinking maybe somewhere over here. The nice part about this is that we could send our finished product right into our interstellar logistics station, or we could send it into our interplanetary station and just transmit it over there. So interestingly enough, this has no drones. You know what? We should probably start doing that first. We need to make some of these drones. We need to make some of these logistic vessels. So for these guys, we're just going to need a whole lot of iron, steel, and copper. We already have our microchips here, so let's hop this direction and go grab a few of those ingredients to make those up. I feel like, again, with the drone ratios, I'm probably totally off, which is why I find myself making more of these a little bit more frequently. But you know what? I think it's good to have a ton of them, and we don't have to worry about running out. We don't have to worry about not getting things in a timely fashion. So I think it just makes life easier, and honestly, they're relatively cheap to produce. They're relatively common materials. I mean, I think processor is probably the most challenging thing that go into these. And that's not really a huge issue. So it's just easy to kind of have a ton of them on hand at any given time, and then we can pull as many as we need. So I'm just going to use, all right, what are we running out of now? Just a few more stacks of this copper here, and we'll give it a rest. All right, so this is the other thing we might want to produce. This is a little bit more of a heavy duty, excuse me. Big sneeze there. Well, all right. So we're going to need our titanium alloy, which we have. And we're also going to need some of those engines. So I remember we set up one of these. Perfect. Here we go. This interstellar station is pulling down these guys. So we can actually just come right over here, grab these bad boys, and directly start creating some of these. Boom. All right. So now we're just running out of those. And we could actually even pull down just a few of these here. Let me say 500. Because I know that we have a remote demand for those. We just don't have a place that we're actually using them yet. And I suspect that will change shortly. If you look at what these actually go into, they do go into the purple cube, so we'll have to pull these down pretty soon. They also go into the particle colliders, which, need to remind you, we're not going to be building. We also use them for the assembly machine. Honestly, I tend not to prefab these. I'll just build them when I need them. And also the EM rail ejector. So I think we've mentioned this earlier. I've never really messed around with the Dyson Sphere component of this game yet, ironically, given the title of the game. But we are planning to actually hold off on building our Dyson Sphere until we can reach this blue giant here. Blue giant, their luminosity is a lot higher than other stars. It's not a planet. I didn't say planet, right? So their luminosity is a lot higher than, like, for instance, our own star. If you look at this, our luminosity rating is a little bit less than 1. But if you recall, when we looked at that blue giant, this is 2.3. So significant luminosity difference. And my understanding is that that will translate to a significant power difference as well once we are building our Dyson swarm. So we're going to hold off on that until we've had a chance to explore that planet a little bit further. That is going to require us to produce not only these graviton lenses, which with just one graviton lens, you can in fact build a space warper. This is kind of the main consumable resource that you're going to use to get around the galaxy. But what you really want to do is actually push up to the green matrix instead. I think it's the gravity matrix. Yeah. So one of these green cubes equivalates to 8 space warpers. So the conversion ratio is just crazy. If you can add in this quantum chip, this can be a bit of a pain to produce, but it's definitely worth it in terms of the resource gain and the space warpers. So I can say on my last playthrough, I casually made a few of these by hand, the green cubes. And it was a bit of a pain to make those in the replicator, but I had enough space warpers after I was done to fuel all of my interplanetary, or rather my interstellar expansion for at least the first few other solar systems I ran into. So that was definitely a huge benefit there. Okay, so we were waiting for our chips to come down. Let's pull those out, and then let's just clear that. So we have those. We're going to build potentially a few more of these. Boom. Awesome. Okay, I think we're in a good spot here. So we're going to be replicating for the entire rest of this episode, it sounds like. But no, we are going to work on our... Interesting. This is totally out of gas now. What are we missing over here? Looks like we do not have any of those super magnetic rings. All right, so we'll deal with that when we get there, but I think it's probably some sort of backup on that other planet. Okay, where are we going here? I'm getting totally turned around. Okay, so here's our plastic. Interesting, it's really speeding up now. Awesome, okay. So we're moving all of this extra plastic out. Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. Okay, get rid of those. And we're slowly burning through that. And then once we're done with this, we may actually reduce the belt speed here back down to speed 1. I don't think we need, frankly, just this super fast belt speed right here. Interesting. What's going on here? What are you not getting? Not getting enough water. Well, that seems problematic. Totally filled up with water there. We got 4 of these guys going. It's still not enough? All right. I don't suppose we actually have one of these in our inventory, do we? Nah, that'd be too much to ask. Let's go grab one real quick, and then we'll work on our carbon nanotubes. I think we might still have some spare water pumps over here. Perfect. Okay. Kind of have that one catch-all chest for, you know, anytime I'm about to go off planet and I have something that I can't use on another planet, or just something I know I'll come back to, but I'm not quite there yet. So in this case, just pop that there. Let's do like 3 more. That feels right. And this will pull out. Just reposition. I mean, that's not bad. Can we get one in there? Ah, perfect. Okay. That worked out really well. So we'll just come down here. Connect all these up. This is going to be a just huge mess. Let's also upgrade all of these, just in case. Oh, Lord, now these are all super speedy. There we go. Wow, should be accumulating quite a lot of water at this point now. And we'll actually upgrade that line too. So that should be pushing the water in a little bit more. Nice. Okay, so I don't think we should be running into that issue anymore. And these are totally full up. All right, that's because we are totally full of our graphene here. And this is the graphene that we're currently exporting out here. So we have a ton of graphene. Don't have to worry about that. Okay. So we're going to go back this direction. Find some clear land for us to work on our production here. This looks great over here. We got plenty of land. We have our interstellar logistics station back here. We have this iron that we're not really using. Interstellar there. And this is also interstellar. Interesting. Okay. So we need to pull out here our titanium and our graphene. So I think what we're going to do is set up a local station, actually. I think we talked about this already. Pull up our local station here. And find a good place to plop this down. Let's go. I feel like over here is pretty solid. We'll build right next to this stone. There's just so much stone all over this place that I don't feel badly. We're probably going to end up building over some a little bit too, just because we have so much of it. And I think that's one really nice thing about playing on the unlimited resources version of this game. You know, it does make life just a lot easier when you're kind of planning around your resources and you don't have to do some long-term contingency planning that I'm sure a lot of people out there find to be very fun. I just don't happen to be one of those people, so I enjoy being able to play this game and focus on the parts of it that I tend to really enjoy, which is more so the planning than the replanning per se. Okay, so we're going to set these down to some reasonable levels here so that we're not pulling out our whole stock, and send our drones out to go collect them. Then we'll be putting back in carbon nanotubes. Okay, so I mean, this feels like a pretty straightforward build to me as far as these. These are built in a chemical facility. There's the trick. Okay. I don't know. There we go. Chemical facility. We do not have them. So knew there had to be something that is just going to make life a little bit harder over here. So we must have originally discussed putting this over with the rest of our chemical facilities. If I hop up here, it'll be a little bit faster to get over here. Okay, so we put in the graphene as our fourth chemical facility over here. We don't have really any space here anymore for our carbon nanotubes, so I think we're doing the right thing. The question is just we're probably going to have to build a few more laboratories before we actually start on that. Do we have any spares? It doesn't look like we have any in here. We have a lot of stuff in here. That's probably good to remember that a lot of that can be grabbed from there, at least as far as it comes to these particle containers. I'll have to make any of those for quite a while. Let's go to our labs. What do we need here? All right, we have plenty of microchips, plenty of steel, stone, and glass. Good thing that we happen to have a bunch of stone and glass in our interstellar tower just over the horizon. All right, we have enough iron there, or steel rather. How many microchips do we have on us? Doesn't look like we have any on us, so it must be saying that we can build them, not that we have them. So we'll pull ourselves a few of those. I mean, we're never going to use these. I feel badly about deleting these matrices, but I don't think we need them as of right now. And we'll put the water back. We also put these solar panels back for now. Lord, accidentally did that. All right, so take those back. How are we? In a good place? Forget the control. You always got to be careful when you're controlling back and forth between a container. Is there anything else that we simply must have with us? I think we're going to take a few of these power generators just in case. We'll toss back one of those science labs because we don't really need that. And other than that, I think we're in a decent place. Wow, we have a ton of these matrix labs. We really went all out there. Good to know. All right, well, let's take our stone with us. And we'll take these engines with us. I feel like we always end up needing those more so than we think we do. So, okay. Other things we needed were stone and glass. Perfect. Let's grab ourselves maybe roughly 1,000 of these. Roughly 1,000 of these. And it's going to take us forever to actually get there in the queue. But you know what? Now we can make 36 of these. Okay. So we're over here. We can only start running our lines for now before we entirely figure out what it's going to look like to have our lab set up. I'm wondering if I start deleting some of these, how many I can get through before we start to lose inventory space. Okay, because we kind of just want to get to the labs at this point. Let's actually go put a few of these back. I didn't realize how long it was going to take us to build all of the drones that we just queued up there. So let's see if we can make this go a little bit faster. All right, we're going to put some of that back, actually. And, you know, I mean, these fill up so quickly at this point that it may not even be worth us trying to put any of this back. We're actually just going to get rid of it and let it float away on the tide. Let's see what else we can stop making. Okay, we want to be really careful there because we want to keep all of those motors. Let's actually get rid of some of those too, and then we'll actually, yeah, get rid of some steel. We have a ton of glass. We'll actually do that. Okay, it's cool. So now we're building the labs. And once we're done with the labs, we can go back and actually build a few more of our drones there. But we want to get those chemical plants built pretty quickly here so we can get our lines started up. Okay, so coming out of here, we wanted to take a look and see what the recipe actually looks like. All right, 3 of these graphenes to 1 of these titanium ingots. So we definitely want the graphene to be closer. Just looking at this layout, I think maybe we go on this side. So let's lay the graphene closest to us. Beautiful. Then we'll pull the titanium right next to it. And we can just set up our science labs right alongside. Easy as pie. I like to go kind of just in a huge straight row with these science labs. Makes life a lot easier. And we are far away from the curvature of the Earth, thankfully. That was a royal pain on our last episode there. I think it's a good thing that we're not focused on trying to build right at the equators anymore, because that was a hassle. And then we will, you know what, why not? We have plenty of these MK2 belts. I'm not going to have to worry about it. And now that we've automated belt production, it's not a pain at all to go back and make some more. Or rather, go back and collect some more, because we don't even need to make them, which is very nice. We'll just slip power right in between each of these labs, so we don't have to worry about the arms or anything like that having a hard time. There we go. Okay, so we're going to make our carbon nanotubes here. Boom, beautiful. Okay, copy this over to all of them. Notable that you can only copy when you're actually within selection range or something. So you have to be really careful. If you're not, oh, there we go. Paste the actual recipe here. To be careful that you don't accidentally just kind of keep waltzing along by and notice whether or not your recipe has successfully pasted, because that could be tricky. We're actually going to use the faster MK3s here too, knowing that we need to pull in 3 graphene for every 1. Well, actually, that's interesting. Watch that. You don't really need to go that fast. Let's actually experiment not doing that. We'll use these instead. See if we notice any significant production time difference. Honestly, 15 per minute. 15 per minute. They seem to be relatively the same. Just because the production time of those carbon nanotubes seems to be long enough that the sorters have plenty of time to grab everything that they need. So we may not have to worry about the faster sorters, which makes life easier. Then we just have to get our outputs going. We should be off to the races here. Ooh, put them down while we run. Not consistently, no, is the answer. Beautiful. Okay, already starting at our supply here. So now that we're not making anything, let's go back and actually make a few more of these. And we're just going to do it 10 at a time now. I think that makes a little more sense. Go and grab a little bit of iron here. Yeah, that's a much nicer time frame. All right, so our particle broadband, we're going to have to pull together a couple of different things here. Let's just queue up 7 of those. Let's do, there we go. Now we can do, still 7, really? What are we missing? Oh, we need that copper. Here we go. Nothing? Oh, and steel. I knew I was missing something. Okay, and we'll actually turn that down just like 5. Okay. So we have our graphene here. It's going to be available for local use. Now the real question is, oh, no, it said this one, sorry. Okay. Wow, that's going fast. Love to see that. Okay, so now the real question is, do we potentially set up our particle broadband assembly here too? We have, no. I think particle broadband is going to be using this crystal silicon. It's also going to be using those nanotubes that we just built over there, and we need plastic. I think it might make sense to actually center this around a hub, kind of like this one. This is interesting to me. Let's take a quick detour here over to Alchiba 1 and see what's going on with our motor production, because this just seems a little bit odd to me that we're running into such an issue here. I will note one of the things we did with these charged accumulators was use those as fuel. This is super handy. I did not realize how nice those burn as fuel. This is an excellent mid-game fuel if you're looking for something here, because you actually, I mean, we waited a while in our tech tree, given how quickly you can make these. As soon as you have yellow cubes, you start interstellar power transportation combined with your energy storage here. This seems like a pretty awesome pick. And actually, you don't even need to have the interstellar power transmission to be able to use the energy storage. So if you can unlock that and charge those up with wind, solar, or whatever the combustible fuel station is, you could really find yourself a great mid-game fuel here. So definitely something interesting to learn. Glad it only took me till the 3rd time around to figure that out, but you know, we're learning. All right, so let's see what got all jammed up here. All right, so our steel lines look like they're doing okay. Actually, no, that's our titanium alloy, right? We're product stacking here. Okay, perfect. That's what we want to see. Let's go this way. All right, we have plenty of graphene here that's supplying. That's awesome. Love to see that. Okay, all these guys working just fine. Our belt factory. Interesting. So we have enough of these in storage. Why are we even bothering to pull these down at this point? Is this actually doing anything? They're probably just storing them here. It's not really going to do anything. And then let's see. Okay, so what's going on over here? So it looks like production is going just fine, honestly. What are these guys upset about? Not enough of those rings, huh? So that's probably what's slowing everything down at this point. Actually, let's just trim off a few of these towers here. Clearly not using them. Just remove that whole line there. Remove that one too, so we're not storing a bunch of excess. All right, so what's the deal here? Why are we not getting enough of those, what are these like gravitron magnets or something? Okay, so they are spitting out just fine. Oops. Let's speed this whole line up, see if that does the trick here. Is that line spitting them right in here? Okay, so the reason that they're probably having a harder time is that they're being used by both level 1 electric motors here, but then also these level 2 electromagnetic turbines. So we just need to get more of them down here. Okay. Well, that seems like an easy fix, but we're already starting to see some bunching down here. So I have to say it works about as well as I would have hoped. Quick tea break there. Note that I am not British like some of the other streamers of this game who also enjoy their tea. Full-blooded American, but can recognize that with this much talking, you have to keep your throat well taken care of here. So we're still learning, but doing the best we can. All right, so what's going on here? Why are we not Okay, we don't have enough of these electromagnetic turbines. So we are sending the electromagnetic turbines down through here. Perfect. Okay, so there isn't enough storage of them. So that's where this is hopefully helping out here. And we're getting them as fast as we can. And now that we're starting to see that bunching, that's exactly what we wanted to see. The one thing that we could do, actually, is just upgrade all of these guys. And that should be a pretty fast solution here to see what we're looking for. And we don't really expect to see any long-term storage in there, but we know that'll increase the actual production output here. Do we need to adjust any of our sorters? Are we doing okay? Looks like the sorters are doing just fine. Okay, so we'll see if that helps at all. I know it's not going to be enough, obviously, but we're getting there. And that belt is also awfully slow here. Let's see. Just upgrade it one time. I don't think it'll make a huge difference, honestly, but it'll get them in there a little bit faster. Okay, cool. So I think we're doing okay. Honestly, I think what happened is that we overbuilt on this third line. We had to recognize that there's kind of diminishing returns as you go through each step of the process here. So we'll have to see if doing this means that we eventually start drawing down or draining down our regular turbines here. Yeah, it looks like we probably will end up doing that long term. So we may want to upgrade a couple of these too. You know what? Let's just do it while we're here. Honestly, we have, how many of these do we have? I feel like we have 80 of them, something like that. So I think we'll be just fine if we go through. We really want to make sure that we have a robust supply chain here as far as all these guys go. So then the only concern would be if everything else can keep up. It looks like all of those. Oh, that's all my, I see all the belt sorting. We need all of that with the level 2. Oh, man. What's going on here? Anything else interesting? Just kicking this down. Plenty of copper. Don't have to worry about that. This stack is huge. Well, nothing in that, but okay. So we are going to be drawing down on that. Let's upgrade one more time. Okay. So hopefully we won't run into any issues here. Wow. That is a crazy little bit of spaghetti there. It seems to be working just fine. So let's see if we can get our motor output here a little bit higher. All right. So one of the things I wanted to do while we were here is we have this huge unnecessary storage of silicon here. But what I think we should do here is, oh, we split this out into our chips and then never sent this back. I think we should also put some crystal silicon in here. So I think we should split it out here. Actually, maybe even pull off of this chest. Does this chest have anything in it? It doesn't. It's sending all of this out over here to be stored here and then just stuck. Interesting. Why are these still making... Is this box not quite full yet? Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. So we're going to do no like high, hardcore production. Interesting. We're not even making enough silicon here. I think we make just a whole nother line. Honestly, I think that's what we do. So let's go down here, take our smelters. Ooh, we're running a little bit low on smelters. Probably going to have to do another mass build of our smelters relatively soon. We're going to go down here, just set up a nice little belt of smelters and pull off a whole separate line of silicon just for our what is that? Refined silicon, crystal silicon. That's what we want to make. All right, so let's copy our recipe here. Same old grabby arm tactic. I'm actually going to preemptively upgrade that so we know we'll have enough silicon, silicon ore rather, running through the system. Start pulling it down. I think the idea is, I know that we have that that silicon production on the home planet. I just know that that's heinously inefficient, and I think the more we have over here, the better off we'll be. It also just helps. Honestly, I prefer consolidating all of this stuff into one specific place too. For me personally, I feel like that just makes life a little bit easier. So let's now come over here. We're going to spit in there. So now what we can do is let's prioritize this way, and we're only going to send high purity silicon this way, but we will know that we can pull some off of this rack, maybe even send it above, honestly, in terms of how we're going to be sending our new crystal silicon. So we could potentially do something like this. And you can tab. I don't know if people know this. You can use tab to cycle through the different styles here. So this is just like a straight back and forth splitter. So maybe we'll do something like that. Actually, let's just test this out now and make sure it actually is going to work. Okay, so we have to go back a little bit further, maybe back here. Okay, so, okay, I see. We can send it through the lower side. Let's see, how hard is it to do that? Okay, oops. And then we can just send it right back down. Perfect. And we'll just shoot it right in there, and they're already expecting it. And I think what we can do is we need smelting, man, the smelters in high demand over here. And I think, yep, so that was my hope. What we can do, just set up a few smelters right here. And we'll have their output run directly over here. Okay. Set this back here. We're going to get grabby with this silicon here. You are going to send these guys over. Perfect. Okay. So this is, again, very kind of modest setup here. It's not really that big of a deal. We don't need a ton of them. As of right now, we have multiple different production components that are working on these. We just wanted to have a little bit of a backup here for when our systems go online that require that. Specifically, our particle broadband here. Okay. So hopefully we've mostly sorted out some of our production issues over here. I mean, it's not perfect, obviously, but we'll see. We're starting to get some semblance of storage here. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. All right, let's get back to the motherland here. Where are we going? Sometimes I feel like checking my map. Sometimes I just feel like looking around in the sky and seeing if we can catch an eye of that big gas giant that we live next to. There we go. And honestly, you don't ever burn so much fuel that it's not worth it. It might take a little bit longer to get back, but never the end of the world here. Okay, so I think we've done all of the necessary prep work to be ready to make our particle broadband. We're going to set up probably a new station to take care of this new interstellar station. We have some of these built out. Oh, we can make a few more of these while we wait. We have a few of these built out already, but I think we're going to need a full interplanetary station to handle the capacity here. Okay, where did we land? Right around our yellow cubes. All right, so we were building, I think it's over here. Our hydrogen tanks look a lot lower. Oh, well, what are we going to do? Okay. So at least that's blocking up, so we still have a fair amount of hydrogen that we're storing. Just stop for a quick top off here. Do you have anything we want to drop off while we are here? I think hopefully as we kind of keep building these out, we should be okay. So we're just going to take the juice and run. Okay, awesome. Oh, it's so fast. It's great. Highly recommend just throwing down, 6 or 8 of those bad boys right there. It's going to make life a lot easier. Okay, awesome. And now we are recreating our accumulators here, getting that supply chain set up, fully operational. Carbon nanotubes. Whoa. All right, awesome. So we're seeing great supply here. So now we just need to set up another interstellar station. I mean, this strip here looks pretty nice. We make particle broadband in assemblers. All right. So we have plenty of assemblers. One other thing we might want to do is set up some smelters too. Maybe I'll run those offline just so we have enough here to get through there. But I think that we're going to want to set up an interstellar logistics station for our particle broadband. And, we may be able to attach the purple cube itself there. We need processors and particle broadband. And then these 3 ingredients, that would be 5. But if we are close enough to the carbon nanotubes here, we could pull carbon nanotubes directly from this station, and then I would free up one of these slots and we could actually export our purple information matrix cubes right out of this station. So I think that's what we're going to do. We'll take this opportunity to just flatten out this coal. Don't really need it here. There we go. All right, now we can build over it. We're going to pop a big old station down right here. You're just on the line there. Actually, here, let's see if we can line it up a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so this station, just to remind ourselves so we don't forget, the whole goal is going to be that we are importing some processors here. We'll set this down to maybe 1200. Remote demand here. And let's make sure that we fully staff up. Perfect. We also know that for our particle broadband, it drives me crazy that they switch where everything is. We're getting the graphene nanotubes, or the nanotubes rather. It's not graphene. The carbon nanotubes. Okay, so we're getting our carbon nanotubes from over there. But we do need to pull in these. We're going to set that to be local demand, I think. And we'll, again, keep that pretty small, the number that we actually need. If we run into issues here, we can also set up remote demand. But we'll kind of play it by ear a little bit. Same with plastic. Set that down to 1200 as well. Local demand. Okay, so now we know that we have everything to actually make the particle broadband itself. So now we want to be able to actually make this particle broadband accessible. We want to store it here if we need it for anything else. I actually don't know. Do we need it in anything else? This is the only thing it makes. You know what? Let's not bother. We're not even going to bother. So in that case, let's pull our carbon nanotubes just from right next door. And we'll actually, you know, we'll just run a line directly over here. Takes like 2 seconds. There we go. You can run it directly between the two. And so now, let's actually just make sure that we have power going across here. Boom. So now over here, let us send the tubes right in. Perfect. All right, so now we can have a huge amount of storage for these carbon nanotubes. Finally, our purple cubes. That's what we're sending out. Because this particle broadband, the only thing it makes are those purple cubes, I see no reason to make it accessible from either local or interplanetary capacity. If I end up eating my words, that's totally fine, and we can actually just shift this right around. But my suspicion is, looking at this, yeah, so we can use this for a few more things. I think we might want the 15,000 capacity storage for the carbon nanotubes, because they make this frame material stuff. And I believe that this becomes, yeah, this is definitely important for our Dyson Sphere components, and also things like satellite substations, which I would love to get up and running in the near future. Okay, so we know that we have that. We need to actually make our carbon nano. No, we are making our carbon nanotubes. We need to make these guys. 2, 2, and 1 means that it doesn't really matter what is on which side. Just looking down here, I think it's going to be easier to have the labs on this side. Actually, no, we're using assemblers, so we have even a little bit more space than I originally said. All right, so let's send these guys out on this one. We'll send these guys out on this one, and then we'll keep plastic in the farthest away one. Boom. Okay. We are looking sharp. So let's just go a little bit further. We'll just do a proof of concept here, and then I'm gonna hop off for the time being. But just give ourselves a little bit of space here. Let's see how it goes. Pull this out just a little bit more here. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. These are very sticky at the least opportune times. All right, and then we can actually run these just right back along into here. And we'll go directly into our particle broadband that we are not storing in here. So actually, we will not do that. Why on earth is that what it's doing with the chain dismantle? Wow. Okay, well, now we know. Okay, and it would be good to remember that because we said we are not using this particle broadband anywhere else, the one con here is that we have to somehow store it locally, not in an interstellar power station. So I'm actually, or an interstellar logistics station rather. So I'm just going to put a little collector right down at the end of the aisle here. That'll let us store some of this locally until we figure out exactly where it is that we are going to put it. So let's get our power set up here. Probably want to, just in case. And we can get grabby with it. So we'll start a nice little row here, and let's immediately plug in our, that's not what I wanted, plug in our broadband recipe right now, just so we're ready to go. Boom. Okay. Is that particle broadband coming off the line I see? Maybe. There we go. Oh, all right. Well, it would be a lot easier to actually see it come off the line if we put in the... There we go. That's what we're looking to see. Perfect. Okay, so let's set up the rest of these guys. This is, again, the beginning of a very small proof of concept line here, but looks like ultimately we're getting that particle broadband. And I'm willing to bet that if I just grab some of this right now, we can make our first few purple cubes right now. That's going to be a good feeling. Okay. We have our first... Oh, whoops. Let's turn that all the way up. We have our first purple matrix coming through. What can we build with purple matrix? What's that's going to unlock for us? We will get these vertical launching silos. Interesting. So those will be helpful for us when we're actually starting our Dyson Sphere, but for this exact moment in time, not super helpful. This planet ionosphere utilization. Interesting. Still very Dyson Sphere oriented, and you'll notice that that requires green cubes, not information cubes, so we're definitely not there yet. Quantum printing. This I would love to unlock an even faster printing speed. Looks like we're going to need to get the quantum chip there first, but it looks like really this purple cube unlocks a very small subset of things in this area, pushing us towards the green cube. It's actually really interesting, I think, to see how much of this game opens up solely on the yellow cubes here. There are so many things that require basically just the yellow cube and existing cubes, but really once you unlock the information cube, you're moving a little bit. It's literally just this one, I think. Yeah, because you need green for this Dyson Sphere stress system thing. But we're literally only unlocking 4 new technologies because of the purple until we get to, because one of them happens to actually be the green. So I guess we can queue up this. Well, no, we can't because